Squeaky chair's back. Let's go. All right, give me 1 second. Big Steve says, I have to be present for 50% or more. It doesn't count. It's called a replay, my guy. You know I got the most rewatchable fish live streams, right? We're going to add that. Most hardest working and most rewatchable fish streams. You're welcome. Okay. Well, most replayable, I guess. Holy. Oh, shit. Is the chat on the screen? Let me make sure. Let me get the chat on the screen. Give me a second. Yeah, it is. Yo, that's the number one thing. You gotta have the chat on the screen for the replay people, man. Holy. Yo, this stream sponsored by Jody P. And any stream that's early, just know it's only because I'm like, I guess at least Jody will be able to watch for once, you know? And maybe some people from the UK, maybe we'll see Glassbox. Sometimes he pops in. Edgar sometimes pops in. Shout out to them. Let's scope it out. He's too busy, man. I never see that guy, but that's still my guy. Shout out to my what they say, my brother. Shout out to my brother. All right, I started early, so give me 1 second. Steve said I can't handle replay. It's called leave comments, bro. Just leave a bunch of comments. How's the audio sound? Is my gain too high? I feel like it's kind of aggressive. But yeah, I think I like this better. Yeah. All right. Putting myself on the screen. 1 second. Let's get started. Audio is good. Let's go. You know, normally I'd feel worse about going a long time without streaming. A long time, quote unquote. But come on, man. I went on a generational run last weekend. That was like 3 streams in a row, just straight bangers. We had the Killifish stream, then the Fathom stream, that was a banger, and then we had the stream with Mexicali and Aquafunk, that was a banger. Like, come on, dog. Come on. Who's working harder? Hardest working. That's like gotta be at least 7 hours of content right there. Today, got a nice topic, got some nice papers, some things to look at. Oh, also, I've been putting time codes on all the streams. Come on, dog. Seriously. Most replayable, hardest working fish tuber streamer. Yeah. But yeah, the stream with Mexicali and Funk, if you hadn't seen it, Corey says, Pester. What's up, Corey? Yeah, speaking of friends that abandoned me, you know what I'm saying? Holy. But yeah, the stream with Aquafunk and Mexicali was pretty great. If you didn't see it, I'm gonna put the link to this. Corey said timestamps are fire. Yeah, I'm almost getting disciplined enough where I do it pretty quickly after. It doesn't take that long to add just a couple. You only need to add like 5. You know, skip around to a random part until you find something to put a time code for and be like, yeah, you know. But yeah, me and Mexicali and Aquafunk did this stream. It was LFS versus swaps. Great stream. I thought it was a pretty great stream. Put the link to that in the chat. What's up, Pond Puppies? Very entertaining. At some point, they added in Louise, Elite Menagerie Habitats. And Louise, if you're listening to this, I still got to get through that notes that you sent me. I'm saving it for when I can really pay attention. But Louise always be stopping by and dropping some gems. And it's interesting what Corey's saying, and they're like, that was good. Lots of behind the scenes info we don't normally get to see. Sometimes I have a bad grasp on like what's behind the scenes info to people, because some of that stuff I was kind of curious. I'm like, man, how many people in the chat like know some of the things that we're talking about already? So it's good to know like what things still need more for people to like catch up on, because there's lots of people that I talk to that are in, you know, that own fish stores, online retailers, and whatnot. So Sometimes I think I get a little bit. I've been talking to them for so long, I start thinking, well, everyone knows this, everyone knows that, but like it's not really the case, you know. What is up? We got the Fish Fam link bot in the chat. But yeah, so I'm glad you guys enjoyed that stream. I want to do another killifish stream, but I think I'm gonna see if I can get Aaron or someone like that to come on and do it with me. Whatever he's free from. He is always hating, bro. I can't. It's always I can't stand that man. He is always hating. He was like, yeah, I don't want to complete the catfish class with a bunch of ugly corridors. I'm just like, oh my god, bro. He never stops. He never stops. But that's my guy though. That's still my guy though. Okay, what other housekeeping stuff? Let me see. I'm trying to think. Since I was early on starting the stream, so I can like talk about whatever for a second. I'm behind on editing video stuff. We gotta do 3 videos this month for me to make up, but I need to finish some stuff for other people first before I can get to more of my stuff. But I think those would turn out to be good. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about anything right now, I guess. Club meetings are coming up this weekend. I'll probably talk about that more tomorrow. We'll probably do a late stream. I got a date tomorrow. Okay, so I still want to do new arrivals, but it's probably gonna be late. If I do it, be later, if at all. If I don't do it tomorrow night, it'll be in the morning. But the reason I can't do it early tomorrow is because WetSpot doesn't update their list until like 8 p.m. EST. And like, how am I supposed to do new arrivals without WetSpot on there? So I mean, you're gonna have to talk to them about that. Otherwise, I just do it early tomorrow. But I should be able to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the live streams are going well. Fish keeping stuff, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. I'm having a hard time keeping the room as warm as I'd like to. I think I've gotten a few fish sick, lost a few fish, just, you know, not doing as well with the cooler temperatures. I obviously can't put a heater in every single tank. You know, I got things trying to heat the room, but it's just not a very well insulated basement, and it's like 0 degrees outside. I've been trying to ship some stuff. I shipped stuff for the first time in a while this week. We'll see how that goes. I'm nervous about that. I feel bad. People are waiting a while, but what am I gonna do? I don't know. I had a pistol kill 2 females. I think I talked about that a bit ago. I lost one of my adult Procatopus. Like there's been a couple things like that where it's just like, god damn it, you know. But there's some exciting things. So the blue Galaris from the Funge location. Let me see if I find a picture. That I was lusting for the low location. The Big Steve got me the Funge location, right? And seems like they're like the same as potentially actually just the same, but at the very least they look very similar. I'll put the picture on the screen. And I like this. I wanted this Galaris location because I just think I did the Dwarf Reds and I really like them. I'd like to get Frank Cowherd's line back. Someone please. But it's just more unique to me. Some of the Galaris strains, like, they do look very beautiful, but that one mid part of their body, like, gets a little bit earthy, a little bit muddy in color. And this guy, he's just straight blue and red all the way. So I finally got the pair thanks to Big Steve, okay? And I couldn't let Big Steve down. I couldn't. And I'm happy to report I've been collecting eggs, like lots of eggs. Here's a picture of me collecting eggs. So every time I collect eggs from the Galaris, I get about this many or more. Okay. Although the last batch I put in there's like fungusing over a lot, so I might start putting them in a different container. But long story short, I've just been tossing eggs into this container of water. It's actually behind me. It's the square that is right here. And there's 2 leaves in there, and there's some air. There's an air line going in there. And it's been a long time. I'm like, shit, I'm going to start. I was talking on the killifish stream. I'm going to start putting them in peat, see if that works. But the first time I bred Galaris, I had them in trays that I drilled the overflow into, and I was pouring water in and changing them every day. and it had been about 4 weeks. I was giving up. I was about to shut down the tray, and when I turned over a leaf, there was like 15 Galar's fry in there. So the other day, I look in. I'm like, let me take a closer look underneath things because they like to lurk. And I look underneath the leaf with the light, and I see one, and I see another that's smaller than it. And basically, long story short, I've probably got 10 to 20 Galar's fry right now. But based on how many eggs I've been throwing in and how long I've been throwing them in, I'm hoping this is my fish keeper math. I'm hoping that in the next week I'll have 40 Galar's fry. That's my hope, okay? Because this is how I estimate that. So I got the amount of eggs I'm throwing in there. Like that's one thing. Or really, it's about how many I see. So I'm seeing 10. I'm gonna assume there's at least half or like half of half more in there. So I see 10. There's probably 20 in there. Here's the other thing I'm calculating. I see one and I see another. There's a pretty significant size difference, which means that I do have eggs that are kind of hatching as a cascade over a long period of time. So I got different aged ones in there. So the first one that was bigger might be a week, and the other one that was smaller might be 3 days. So I think, just like Mick said, it just takes a while for them to incubate. And I'm hoping that I'm going to keep just tossing eggs in there. I'm never going to stop. And then I'm going to have 100 Galars this year, and it's going to be fantastic. That's the dream anyway. But I would say that's the main win right now. I do have some stir-by juveniles. I do have a good amount of Hestatus coming up. My gold convicts I got from Jesse, just one more fish. That pair, those look like they got some wigglers right now. So fingers crossed that comes through. And yeah, I guess other bad news. It looks like my big platinum half-beak female, she would look so good. I think something startled her and she jumped and broke her back. It didn't. I thought it was like labor, because last time she went in labor, she was swimming vertical. But this time I realized something different, like you could kind of see in her back. So she passed away, and I'm pretty sad about that. But I got to think about how to solve the problem of light startling things. Maybe I had the tank filled up too much, so it was like super close to the top. I don't know. But some wins, some losses. The losses always are going to sting a bit more. I got some Vietnamese white cloud babies I got growing up. I got some Aphysimian red shrimp. What other wins are going on here? I'm trying to think. It has been difficult. But I think the Imperial Lapis Tetras, I should be able to have some fry from those soon. They seem to be laying eggs. But all right, let's get into the topic for today. That's enough introductory yapping. How's it going, Cam Jam? Hope you're doing well. And I hope you guys are excited as I am for this topic. I've been waiting to stream on this topic for a bit because I don't know if you guys realize, but I do some research ahead of time for these streams. So I'd gotten the collection of papers I wanted to look at, but we did some of the other streams first. But the reason why I'm excited about it is, you know, that one problem tank, right? That one problem tank is my grandpa's tank, and there's like maybe 120 high. And I think my main issue with it is probably I have not been disciplined enough in the treatment. But the benefit of it is I've done a lot of reading trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Now, I was looking at protozoans because, you know, I'm treating for worms and stuff, and I kind of feel like, okay, I thought it was an eternal issue. So like if it's worms, you know, I did feel like I did those treatments pretty well. But then I was reading about how some protozoan infections on, you know, externally can start to cause problems internally. And as always, I'm waiting for the day I have money to drop on a microscope. And I just came across so many papers that were detailed describing how to identify them under a microscope, their life cycles, and how to treat them. And I don't know. I felt like I've seen a lot of stuff, like videos on that, but to me, I was able to understand it more with reading the papers and the pictures, and I'm hoping our combined efforts today, we can kind of get somewhere where we're all on a bit of a better foot. And we do got Jody P in the chat who've been looking at some of this stuff under a microscope. So I expect her to chime in every now and then. You know what I'm saying? She got like eggs in her pocket. She got parasites under the microscope. Like, you just never really know. Excuse me. So what do you guys want to start? You guys want to start with a general one, with a sampling one? Oh man. Let's start with some pictures. You know what I mean? We should start with some pictures. So let me pull up the one that I think had some nice pictures. Yeah, here we go. You know it's official when I had to get the PDF downloaded. You know what I'm saying? I had to get the downloaded PDF. That's how you know. That's how you know. Sometimes, man, I might have to bribe someone for the paper. I might have to steal a student login. You never know. But I do it for I do it for you degenerates. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you have a kid that's just such trouble, never went anywhere in life, but it's just so damn funny. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. Studies of protozoan parasites of freshwater fishes. Now, this is from the Fish Bulletin, from the Fishery Bulletin of Fish and Wildlife Services, Volume 5, from the United States Government Printing Office. This is 1947. Jody says Trick is probably the coolest looking parasite. Yep. What's up, JP? SVC. How's it going? Beto, couple fish. My guy. All right. So, this is an older paper. So we're going to start here. You know, we got to start in historical order, of course. So, one of the things that's nice about reading stuff is some things do change, but a lot of things stay the same. A lot of stuff is referencing old studies and groundwork, and I always like starting there because then I know what's changed. If I start with the 1947 and I kind of read up and I get to 2024, if there's anything that's changed, I'll be able to appreciate not only that it changed, but see how they discovered why something should be different. So this is the methods. In most cases, the organisms were studied in both the living and preserved conditions. In studying living forms, the external parasites were removed directly to the slide and examined in water. Preserved specimens were studied as whole mounts in sections. For the former, wet smears were prepared by spreading a little of the material on a cover slip, which was immediately exposed to osmic vapor for 15 seconds. Now, I read some of this because myself and some of you at home may actually have or acquire a microscope. And another cool thing about these is they tell you exactly how to look at this stuff and identify it. So one day this will be applied to me. Then the cover slip was floated face down on a small amount of fixing fluid in a watch glass for about 30 minutes. The fixing fluid was a modification of Worcestershire's formal muriatic acidic mixture prepared as follows. Saturated solution muriatic chloride 75 cc's, formalin formaldehyde 40% 20 cc's, and glacial acetic acid 5 cc's. Now, funnily, formalin is going to be very relevant through a lot of these. I didn't really realize the stuff they use to preserve things and stuff like that was also like formaldehyde, which is in ICX and Riddick, and is one of the more popular treatments for some of these protozoans. So it's just kind of interesting to see when there's something that, you know, you ever seen like a medical thing and they're like, oh, like fentanyl, like it's like this addictive drug and very dangerous and stuff, but then you hear about it in an actual legitimate medical setting, you're like, wait, those are the, you know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about formalin. I'm like, I thought you put like dead stuff in this. You're telling me I'm pouring this into my fish tank? All right, this fixing fluid has been used exclusively and for general use for protozoans. Is believed to give good results as any fluid yet devised. All right. A combination of iron hematoxylin and Ehrlich's hematoxylin techniques were found to be especially valuable for staining trichinids. For this purpose, Ehrlich's hematoxylin solution was substituted for the 0.5% solution used in Hinde-Haynes method. So we just get all the methods dropped. All right. So, order Protomon adena Blockman. All right, let me just look up Protomonadina block. Okay, this was 1895 where he made this order. Protozoan order. All right. In the spring of 1942, fingerling crappies, Pochmosis annularis, and P. sporoides in several ponds at the Fish and Wildlife Service Station at Kearnsville, West Virginia, were found to be infested with 4 species of flagellates, all undescribed. The parasites were confined to the gills and sometimes were present in great numbers, although fish from the same ponds differed greatly in this respect. In some instances, all 4 species were present, but more often, only 2 or 3 species were found on the same host. Fish with a severe infection were noticeably emaciated, smaller, and weaker than those less heavily parasitized. Now, another thing that led me about protozoans when I was thinking about worms is I started reading some stuff that said that actually protozoan infections are more prone to having the pinched stomachs than some of the worms I was treating for. And I'm hoping as we read through these papers, we'll get more details on the mechanics of why that is. But that just stood out to me because they're talking about how they're noticeably emaciated, and these are things confined to their gills. Okay, so let me look at this. I'm not a wildlife person. All these fishers are like, I know what a crappie is. I'm like, I don't know what this fish is. I want to look it up. Sorry, I have all my tabs open and I just totally lost where I was. There we go. Pomoxis annularis. Pomoxis annularis. All right, white crappie. We're just not even going to talk about the name. Damn, got a big ass mouth. Okay, I've seen people with these for sure. Okay, just trying to get a visual going on. Corey said, side papers are fun because they're supposed to be repeatable, so they tell you how they did what they did, which is really handy. Yes, smallest of the flagellates on the gills of the crappies. So you know what I realized we need to do? Pronounce crappie? All right, buddy. Sure. First, I need to look up what a flagellate even is. Okay, a flagellate is a cellular organism with one or more whip-like appendages called flagella. Okay. Let's see. The word flagellate also describes a particular construction or level of organization characteristic of many prokaryotes and eukaryotes and their means of motion. The term presently does not imply any specific relationship or classification of the organism that possesses flagella. However, several derivations of the term flagellate are formally characterized. All right. Crayfish, crawfish, crawdad, yeah. Okay, so it seems like they're describing stuff that had these, like, these feathery things at the end here. Yep, they all got these like hairy tentacle things. They said whip-like. JB said, dang, Nick, I got to go back to work. We needed a graveyard stream. If Aaron agrees to do the killifish thing with me, I'd stream again tonight. Protists are kind of trash can of things we're trying to figure out. Yep. And remember, what they're describing, it was undescribed at the time. Species. And at the time, the 4 species that they had found weren't described. So, All right. My bad. I totally just closed my freaking tab. I do this every time. All right. So I'm trying to get like a bit of a bird's eye view here on this before I actually get into each species of what they're actually doing. So that they are catching fish out of the wild and checking to see what the hell is on them. All right, I'm following. While ordinarily most numerous on the filaments, in several fish, it was fully abundant on gill rakers and sometimes occurred in groups of several hundred free in the mucus covering the gills. Okay. The mucus I thought was supposed to prevent some of these things. Superficially, it resembles the common fish parasite Costia nicotrix and could easily be mistaken for this organism on cursory examination. With our limited knowledge of the Bodinidae and an incomplete description of many species, it's difficult to determine the affinities of this organism, but owing to the presence of a wide ventral groove in the arrangement of the flagella, it is placed in the genus Colponema, at least provisionally. All right. So here they go, describing what they found on each fish. I want to get to the pictures, the illustrations part. Okay? Because this is what I can understand. Figure 15, free swimming form of Lamellosoma peculiaria. Okay. Man, they didn't have, we had to get the illustrations. Just imagine you're trying to identify something under a microscope, and this is what you got. But we're going to learn to appreciate when we have full images later on. That's pretty interesting. Attached to the gill, it shows attached a section of something attached to the mouth, and it shows a drawn specimen preserved in formalin. So back in the day, man, this might have been what you had. Come on. Now, I appreciate Fish and Wildlife for this. This was nice. But let's get to something that's a little bit more understandable to my modern. It's another one where they're sampling some fish, but these are now farmed fish. Protozoan infections in farmed fish from Brazil. Now, I keep a lot of fish from Brazil, so I felt like this was pretty relevant to me. I probably keep some fish that were farmed in Brazil. Yeah, probably. I got what? Neon tetras and stuff. I think they farm those in Brazil, right? I mean, obviously you got the wild caught. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of farmed of some of those fish now, because we were reading a paper about it. And angelfish, they had some farms of angelfish in Brazil. Okay. So now we got a little bit different. The phylum Protozoa brings together several organisms evolutionarily different that may act as ecto or endoparasites. So external or internal, I think is what that means. Let's just do a fact check on if I've read enough to know what an ectoparasite is. Yeah, ectoparasite embedded in the skin. Okay, let's see. Endoparasite. What's an endoparasite? Am I right? Yes, organisms that live inside of the body. Let's go. Yo, vocabulary. All right. So they're ecto and endo parasites. Yo, Jody P. Oh my gosh, Jody P. With the $20 donation. Thank you for the daytime entertainment. Oh my gosh, is that just because I knew what ecto and endo meant? Oh my god, I gotta read more. I'll start taking notes. Damn, Jody, I know, seriously, I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Wow, $20. Holy, you and I feel like when I had the guest on, it was harder to shout out donations, but like Audra and Steve and Jose, and I appreciate you guys. Wow. Jody said, just being supportive while I'm awake. Oh my god, she admitting she's about to fall asleep. All right. So the phylum Protozoa, yes, endo and ecto parasites. They're in fish. They're in other invertebrates. They cause diseases. Agriculture scared of them, etc., etc. A number of prophylactic and curative measures have been suggested, although many of the recommended chemicals may be overused, misused by aquaculture workers, leading to parasites' potential drug resistance and negative impact on the aquatic environment. In this way, it must be highlighted the importance of disease impact in order to elaborate efficient strategies for early diagnosis and fast intervention and management practices in fish farms, so as to obtain a stable and sustainable production. Yes, W Jody. All right. So first we're going to start with Clophora, and now we've got full color pictures. This is something we can get into. Okay, let's go. Cleophora. These unicellular protozoans possess mobile cilia involving the external body surface in some stage of their life cycle. Okay, so let me just digest that. All right. Mobile cilia involving the external body surface. So at some stage in their life, they got these mobile cilia involving the external body. I think cilia is like hair-like structures. Yes, the nucleus present. They reproduce by binary fission and conjugation. What is this, Latin? Apiosoma, Ballatidium, Chilodinella. Epistylis is in this group. Ichthyophytherius. So ick is in this group. Trichodinidae. are the main representatives, which I recognize like 5 of those. So this is one group very relevant to aquariums. Corey said I need an afternoon pot of coffee. Come on, man. So it comprises sessile petriclid cleated vacuoles, infundibulum, an oral cavity, scopula from which the parasite attacks the host's surface, and the peristomial disc. All right. They use fish only for attachment, like other sessile petrichids, such as Epistylus and Heteropolaria. We're looking at Apiosoma, by the way. My bad. It uses the fish only for attachment and does not invade the epithelial cells, thus feeding by filtration of suspended material in the water. This phenomenon is termed epibiosis. Is anyone else getting a lot of buffering? All right. I just did something. Let me know if that helps the buffering. 1 second. I think when I open too many Google tabs is when the buffering occurs, is my theory. So I just closed like all my tabs, and if my theory is correct, in like a couple seconds, the buffering should not be as bad. All right. My apologies about that. Yeah. I thought it was just me. Chrome eats all the RAM. I think that's what it is, but I just want to be sure, so you let me know. I'm watching the stream on my end, and it looks fixed. Okay. Chrome just eats up all my RAM, all 32 gigabytes. This is crazy. All right, here we go. So, using fish for attachment and eating through filtration. I've been thinking a lot about the role of flow and the role of filtration in preventing parasites. I think the first time the concept of the fact that parasites can get, drawn into the sponge and then they're in there instead of on fish kind of stuck out to me. But also, yeah, if they're eating stuff that's suspended in the water, if you improve your filtration, which is one reason why I'm trying to switch. I actually want to switch to even finer sponges I have now. If you improve your filtration to where it's catching smaller and smaller stuff and that stuff's not floating through the water, it can't feed these things, right? So I think any tank that is like a quarantine tank or something like that for me, I might even put like an actual, like, not a canister, but something with super fine filtration on a quarantine tank, because then most of these things have a free swimming stage, and I want to make sure my water's circulating and catching as many of those things as possible. And I've noticed in some tanks when I've improved the flow, a lot of my issues decrease significantly. So that's one reason I asked Higer to send us so many power heads. So the only reason I hadn't done the stream yet is, one, I was trying to give some space because I don't want people to feel like I'm constantly, well, I'm not really shilling because they just sent them to me. You know what I mean? All I have to do is just show them on stream. But I got 2 wave makers from them, right? So I got the mini one. And we're going to see how these... I got to figure out what I'm setting up for them. But that's one reason why I was kind of getting interested in them. A couple of fish that I noticed, more cloudy water issues and algae population controls a lot. The filter behind me on the tank that's on the screen has been doing well, but like I want way more flow than that in there. So wave makers only if you knew someone with a reef tank. Oh my gosh, Steve. I mean, how much this washer tank you got? I could be convinced. Okay. So, diagnosis, life cycle. So this thing, Apiosoma, reproduces by binary fission. Okay. Binary fission. Asexual reproduction. Parent cell cloning itself. Conjugation, a form of horizontal gene transfer where microorganisms exchange genetic material. Okay. All right. So it's called, when they do it, it's just conjugation. When I do it, it's something else. A couple of fish says, yes, I have wave makers on my display tanks. Yes, we're going to do a hill stream tank. I think what I'm going to do, and it's going to be a lot of work, but I think I have to clear out the middle 28-gallon low boy because I realized it's kind of being wasted right now. as far as utilization. If I turn one of the little boys, I'll probably turn the bottom one into a Hillstream tank too, quote unquote. But like, that's gonna be a lot of work. Okay. F-Zone stood behind their product. They sent new parts free of charge. Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. So, I just realized something. Hold up. So it's transmitted by free-swimming infective telotrochs, and then the diagnosis. This is where I'm going to be paying more attention. I'm just changing my camera setting real quick, and then we'll be good. You don't stream for like a couple days, and suddenly you're just so you're a little bit rusty, man. All this stuff is just not how it should be. There we go. Okay, Pond Puppy says, I use a few small internal filters, but they need clean more than wave makers. Better so I have plenty of flow in all my tanks. Good. So diagnosis. Microscopic examination of fresh mounted scraps of the fish's skin, fins, and gills is the main technique for diagnosis of Apiosoma. The parasite presents a robust, long 40 to 70 body shape. It can therefore be easily diagnosed even in infections with low parasite densities. For a detailed view of morphological features, the following staining techniques can be used: silver nitrate impregnation, Protozoan and Gimsa. All right. The Ilric Hidahane or Harris hemotoxin, as well as neutral red. The main characteristic used for identification are body length, width, presence of scopula, which I believe is what they're using to attach to the fish, right? Body shape, position, length, and width. Yo, what's up, Johnny Best? How is it going? Johnny Best in the house. All right. So here in figure A, we see the parasite attached on the epithelium. So this is the parasite here. This little stump, basically, attached right on the thingy. Man. Look at that. Okay, sorry. I got distracted looking at the photo. B. Okay, B is a Nile on a Nile tilapia larva, Oreochromis niloticus, in a fresh mounted slide. So they do got a distinct, they got a little stumpy look here. Yeah. This is them showing the nuclear apparatus. And then C, we see them stained with the Gimsa. All right. Yeah, they kind of look like little, like, you know, the little drum you kind of have between your legs, like boom, 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 boom. That's kind of what it looked like. Okay, let's see what we got next. Pathogenesis and clinical signs. So as the parasite attaches on the host by the scupula and do not invade the epithelial cells, the pathological alterations are discrete and less evident. When heavily infested on fish gills, however, the parasites cause reduced breathing, surface to gas exchange on gills. In this case, fish will experience respiratory distress and may be seen near the surface of the water, gasping for air. It was observed displacement of scales, possibly due to secondary affections on respiratory difficulty and hyperventilation. Skin alterations like darkness can be observed. Detected loss of equilibrium, low swimming on the water surface, and anorexia. As with most protozoans, environmental debasement and crowded conditions cause them to be more damaging. Chilodenella species are free living, but some of them parasite skin, gills, and fins of fish. Only 2 species have been found to cause damage, blah, blah, tropical fish. This is on to the next one. This one is the Chilodenellid. Okay, so only 2 species found to observe damage in fish, mainly found in tropical fishes. C. piscicola. C. piscicola. Okay. Mainly parasizing fish from subtropical and temperate waters. Okay. They have a monexic life cycle with transversal division on the host. Ew. Besides sexual reproduction by conjugation. Some researchers suggest that they have one life stage capable of forming resistant cysts for parasite maintenance, but the strategy is not yet fully understood. Oh, fantastic. Yo, Johnny Best with the $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Johnny. Steve said, what's your plan this weekend? I don't know. I really don't know. I need to figure that out. All right, let's look at one that we recognize, okay? A little thing. Don't look too crazy. But I'll be honest. I want to learn about the ones that I know, the ones I recognize. So let's look at Epistylus. Okay. Epistylus. Representatives of Epistylus are colonial coelates with bell-shaped body provided by a long peduncle, in which in the apex is located the zooid cell with a nucleus, contractile vacuoles, and cilia. Similar to Apiosoma, the sessile petricid uses fish as a substrate for attachment and feeds on suspended particles in the water. When present in a population under high stocking densities associated with bacteria that colonize its peduncle, okay, so there's a bacteria that colonizes this parasite. I'm assuming they're about to tell us it's problematic. This ciliate might cause host damage and then be named as parasite. In Brazil, Epistylus has been characterized as an emergent disease with greater impact in farmed catfish. So their life cycle. These ciliates rely on binary fission of zooids for asexual propagation, but they may reproduce by conjugation on its sexual reproduction. Similar to Apiosoma, it occurs on non-sessile teleotrochs in the water column. No doubt. No doubt. Because this is the photo. There's some ways that that fish symptoms present and the fish immune system present. Like, when I realized what it looked like when a fish was producing too much mucus to try and react to something, it made a lot more sense. Like, oh, that's why they got this white kind of patch. And this here in C was another thing where it said C shows a Nile tilapia with fin erosion and loss of scale. Okay. Associated with Epistylus colonization. Well, if I looked at that before, I would just say it looks like my fish got a white patch on it. Right? But how they describe it, a loss of scale, a small thing, but to me that totally changed it. Because before I'm like, oh, it's a white patch. Maybe it's bacterial. But like, I'm not even looking at it correctly from the beginning where I'm seeing white patch. I'm not thinking, oh, there's a white patch there, parasite that's white or whatever. Like, the scales are missing. And I'm not even like noticing that is part of the picture. So that was something that from this paper, when I was looking over it briefly, really kind of like a fresh mounted slide under a light microscope. I don't know if it's God, I'm still having buffering issues. Okay. Let me see what I can do about that. If I'm missing something. Ugh. What's up, Audra? How's it going? How is it going? Why you got the popcorn and stuff up? Why you got the popcorn and stuff up? Activity monitor. Let me see if something's eating up on my RAM. Well, it says I got some available. It says I got some available. Okay, so OBS is using some. My webcam is using some. Okay, I'm gonna keep an eye on this. But we should be good right now. But if when it like starts buffering, I see my RAM usage like go crazy, and I'm not getting buffering. But a second ago I was. All right. So skin scale loss. Fantastic. That's what we love to see. Basically is where I was at. So we see them mounted under a microscope, kind of see what they look like. I do see how they're saying they're related to the other one because they do got kind of a similar vibe going on here. They do. Over here, B, the detail of bacteria, parentheses, arrowheads, attached on the peduncle of the ciliate. Man, how do people even... Well, I know how they see it. They're using a microscope, but... This is crazy. And then D, showing total erosion of dorsal fins and colonies of Epistylus on the dorsal fin and head of these fish here. Okay. So transmission of Epistylus is transmitted from infective teletrochs searching for new hosts for attachment to develop new colonies. In addition, a paper in 2013 suggested that zooplanktic microcrustaceans may act as vectors or reservoir hosts for Epistylus in farming conditions. In fact, it's common to find these ciliates fixed on the body surface of those organisms, increasing thus disease dissemination. It's routine practice for fish farming to add manure to ponds in order to improve the primary productivity of the water, resulting in increased phytoplankton and zooplankton production for fish feeding. Nevertheless, as a result of the addition of nutrients into the water, the sanitary risk of an increase in the number of disease vectors and protozoans is imminent. To diagnose it, macroscopical observation of Epistylus from whitish to yellowish colonies on the fish surface, fins, operculum, head, and mouth should be accompanied by fresh mounted slides observed in the microscope. This is especially true because observation of parasite colonies at first view can be misleading or confusing diagnosis, since it's easily confused with fungal infections. From microscopic observation, contraction movements of the zoids afford the definitive diagnosis. Yeah, if it's moving around, maybe it's not a fungus. Complementary material, the histopathological analysis provides a more comprehensive view of the disease and its effect on tissues, but do not naked eye, being necessary to examine scraps from skin, fins, and gills. The identification at specific level from in vivo analysis must be complemented in samples impregnated with silver proteinate, length and width of the zoid, cell and colony shape, peristomial lips, diameter, arrangement of buccal ciliary, nucleus shape and length and width of the peduncle, important characteristics to be measured. Snacking while listening about parasites is kind of crazy, Audrey. Pathogenesis and clinical signs. Its pathology is strongly associated with the presence of bacteria on the peduncle, those arrowheads. As they do not invade directly the host cells in the attachment process, neither pathological alterations in infested tissue nor substances are released on the host surface. Okay, so the bacteria does just stay there. Never mind. Moreover, these authors confirmed the involvement of Aeromonas hydrophila as a bacterium responsible in colonizing the parasite and secreting lytic enzymes that degrade the adjacent tissue. Okay, never mind. There it is. Fish can determine the red sore disease. The colonization of parasite depends on the fish species and developmental stage of fish, as well as the production system conditions. In highly infested fish by Epistylus, it can be seen fin erosion and skin ulcers related to bacterial enzymes activity. So, Aeromonas hydrophila. So here's the thing. Here's the thing with one of my mystery diseases, right? Well, the main one is every now and then I did get these sores, and it confused me. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh shit, like I got how multiple factors create the full picture of disease. So we got this parasite, and it's attaching to the fish, but it's got this bacteria in it, and it's not the parasite itself, but the bacteria is producing a lytic enzyme that degrades the adjacent tissue and is causing the sores, can cause the sores. So, you know, if you just treated for some sores, the bacteria infection, then you might not even get the thing that's causing them. So of course it's going to happen again. You know what I mean? Most likely. Because they're on the protozoans. They're all working together to kill your fish. It's crazy. Okay. Protected in the parasite. Yeah, because as I was saying it, that was kind of my thoughts. Like, well, if the bacteria is on the protozoan, will treating the bacteria still solve that issue because it kills the bacteria on the protozoan? Or, you know what I mean? It is kind of hard to fully eliminate bacteria. So, like, I think probably what you're saying is right. I think it's probably protected to some degree and inside the parasites themselves, I'd have to imagine. Or at least it'd make it more difficult to treat. On histological sections, what's up, Beezy Schmeezy? How's it going? What's up? It's okay. Not too much to catch up on. Apparently, I've been buffering all day. But if I've been right. On histological sections, degeneration and epithelial necrosis adjacent to the colonies, intense desquamation, as well as increased mucus production and inflammatory infiltrate are also related. Fish deaths generally occur after secondary invasion by opportunistic bacteria, thus causing a systemic infection. All right, here we go. What's up, Aaron? How's it going? We've got Ichthyophythiasis, important fish parasites of worldwide distribution, compromising skin, fins, gills, and eyes of foreign parasite. So here's another thing. So in my grandpa's tank, at one point, we added some cardinal tetras that I got from a complete setup. And when I put them in there, I saw one of them had a white spot. I hadn't noticed. And it also, a few days later, got some eye damage. So I'm kind of also been looking for something that causes these like little white things on the eyes. And it turns out it has all sorts of different ways to present. Okay. On the Galaxy, you probably want to start a new one. Yeah. I'm thinking of just moving the fry from that one, but I want to start a new one anyway because I think I collect enough eggs, and it's starting to get like if a bunch fungus in there, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want like a bunch of fungus eggs. So yeah, I'm gonna have to start a second one. I probably will this weekend. If my chair's too squeaky, I'm gonna just go get another. Okay, this parasite is not host specific, and any freshwater fish can potentially transmit the disease. In Brazil, it's considered an important parasitic disease and farmed. During a parasitological survey of ornamental fishes from North Brazil in 2009, they identified ick in the gills of Parachodon axelrodi. God damn it. Is that cardinals or is that neon? I think it's cardinals. Yeah, cardinal. They identified a cardinal tetra, Haphisobricon copelondi, and Dionema eurostriatum, which is the flagtail catfish. Several species are susceptible, including the silver catfish and the Amazonian hybrid Pentatado. Okay, they're susceptible to it. Now here's the life cycle. The life cycle of ick is monozenic and involves only a fish. Similar to Amyloidinium and Piscinodinium, its life cycle has 3 stages as follows. 1, the theront. So another kind of thinking on filtration. Let's say something that can filter out 30 to 50 micrometers. Named Perforatorium, used in fish cell invasion. Number 2 is the trophont. So we had the theront, now we have the trophont. This is going to be on the quiz. Adult mobile stage found in fish epithelium, can reach 8 for protection. Attaches to plants and substrate to divide asexually and originates 500 to 1,000 daughter cells named tomites that will differentiate in effective theronts and so search for a new host. And if you're wondering the treatment for all these, we're going to look at the treatment next, but I wanted to look at what these things were, how to identify them, and such first. The release of theronts into the water is strongly associated with temperature. At a water temperature above 24 degrees Celsius, the life cycle is favored and completed rapidly. Differently, temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius or above 28 degrees Celsius can inhibit the parasite's life cycle. An exception, however, must be commented when it was observed mortalities of up to 50% in fingerlings of Tambaqui infected with ick when water temperatures were above that 28 degrees Celsius. So it's like not all the time. You can't rely on it. In this way, studies on different strains of ick to verify its susceptibility under uncommon conditions must be encouraged. Okay, great. Great. So there might be some strains of ick that are heat resistant, just so you know. Well, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Okay. One second. I switched my streaming software to see if that helps with the issue. I know I kind of just did it out of nowhere, but I switched to the one I was using when I was streaming with Jorge and them. So I had my license up. My bad. Sorry about that. Let me know if this improves things though, because it was just seeing the drop frames was just driving me nuts. It was very distracting. Okay. Let me get shit up here. Hold up. We're getting through it. Then I just need my chat. That will be good. I'm gonna have to stream for like a whole extra hour just to make up for how annoying this text shit has been. Holy. Okay. Yep, I got this here, I got this here. Oh, very clean. Very clean. There we go. Yeah, we're back. Perfect. I ain't even getting to treating the damn diseases yet. I'm just on ick. It's like baby steps. Okay. Here we go. Corey said, Nick, showing off the technology. You may have to turn your volume up a bit. Ooh, yes. Let me make sure Let me make sure I'm using the right... I wasn't even using the right mic. All right. There we go. We're back. Bam. Tech knowledge. We haven't dropped a frame yet. We're off to a good start. All right. So, diagnosing ick. Ick diagnosis is made based on macroscopical observations of trophonts within the host skin and microscopical analysis of fresh mounted material between a slide and cover slip. Under an optical microscope, the observation of the mobile pear-shaped theronts and mature trophonts uniformly covered by a layer of external cilia with a horseshoe-shaped nucleus confirms the diagnosis. Histopathological analysis can also reveal the parasitosis. Don't say that out loud. That's when you buffered the most. Bro. No, I'm saying out loud. I'm confident. Come on. 0 drop frames still. We're good. Okay. Differential diagnosis. Because of its similarity with the dinoflagellate Piscinoideum pylori, definitive diagnosis ought to be careful. Okay. This dinoflagellate shows similar color and shape to ick, but does not swim. And has no cilia around the body, no little hairs, and does not swim. It's also rounded nucleus instead of the horse-shaped nucleus like in ick. So ick, horse-shaped nucleus, that's on the quiz, okay? Pathogenesis and clinical signs. Pathological alterations associated with ick are related to theront invasion on the epithelium layers with posterior histophagia stage of trophont. This process invokes inflammatory reaction of the host with intense epithelial proliferation by goblet cells, and in severe cases, it can be observed fusion of secondary lamella, degeneration, and epithelial cell necrosis, forming several ulcers on the epithelium after releasing of mature trophonts. So the trophont, that's the adult mobile stage, and then the tomont, that's the cyst stage on the fish. So after releasing the the free swimming situation. Sounds like some ulcers could occur. Yeah. So, check this out. The main clinical signs is the presence of white spots on the fish surface, including skin, fins, eyes, buccal cavity, and gills. It's common to observe fish with respiratory difficulty, flashing behavior in ponds and aquaria, and in-cage reared fish flashing on the sieve cages, leading to muddy water in earth ponds. Okay. Now, here we got some ick photos. 1 second. I said, here we got some ick photos. You guys not even... Restart the capture. There we go. Ick photos. Olé. Yep, looks like a little bit of a white spot situation going on here. Yep, I definitely see that. Over here on B, we see several immature trophonts. In the developmental stage, and I see the horseshoe-shaped. I'm assuming that's the nucleus. It's so horseshoe-shaped, that's got to be what they're talking about, right? Yep, and it's horseshoe-shaped nucleus. Okay, cool. Histological section of the gill laminella, that's C, with the inflammatory infiltrate and the parasite inserted in the skin of an infected fish. So here we see these little dots. That's the ick in the infected fish. And can you see the nucleus on these? I can't really. D, we see the dotted arrow. Okay, every time I zoom on the PDF, that's when I'm buffering. There's no way that this is the case. What dumb thing is causing it? This is like more of a tech support stream at this point. All right. I'm gonna read about the trichinoids, the Trichodinidae, and then I gotta start fresh on a new paper because, bro, this has been throwing me off, man. I am rusty. Okay, trichinids are mobile ciliates characterized by the presence of a body covered by a slender membrane surrounded by a dorsal ciliary spiral, a horseshoe-shaped macronucleus, and an adhesive disc provided with a denticulate ring in which the denticles are found. In Brazil, the genera Trichodina, Paratrichodina, Triapertilia, and Trichodinella have been found parasitizing aquatic animals. Fantastic. Including zooplanktic microcrustacean. Okay. In Brazil, okay. What do these tricks do? I'm just gonna call them tricks. Trichodinids. Yeah, these are tricks for sure. They can be found parasitizing both freshwater and marine fishes on the body surface, buccal cavity, and gills. Nevertheless, relatively few of them have become endoparasites. Ooh, lovely. In the intestine, kidney, and urinary bladder of their hosts. Proliferation of the group in the environment seems to be associated with bad water quality. Total number of bacteria and ecological aspects of the fish species. In this way, the use of tricks as an indicator for eutrophication in brackish water environments was suggested. The reproduction in fish farms has been related to high stocking densities, high organic matter contents, and increased water temperature. Differently, some trick species were found to be suppressed with increased water temperature. Okay, so different species, who knows what temperature they like. They have a monozygous lifestyle and reproduce mainly by binary fission, although conjugation is possible on the host. In a short period of time, they can reproduce rapidly and reach 100% prevalence and up to 299,000 parasites per host. My God. Tricks could be horizontally transmitted by direct contact or by contaminated water in which the parasite searches for new hosts. Contaminated fish farming utensils are also another important source of trick transmission. Ugh, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Tricks can be made. Diagnosis can be made from scraps of skin, fins, and gills of diseased fish observed under stereomicroscope by an expert researcher, or under a microscope, and fresh-mounted material between a slide and a cover slip. The parasites move rapidly in a circle. The most important techniques for a specific diagnosis are silver nitrate impregnation and staining by Giemsa or hemotoxin. So this is the one that everyone always says is the easiest and most fun to identify because they look so crazy, so circular. They look like some kind of Beyblade looking thing. Got all these spirals, all these spikes going on. So this is figure 5. This is trick and fresh mounted smear from the skin. Figure A is on a differential interference contrast microscope. B is the adhesive disc of trichodina magna and silver nitrate impregnation. And C is an adhesive disc of a trichodinid during binary fission and silver nitrate impregnation. Damn, we see them literally doing the fission right here. It's kind of crazy. So, what are the signs of these guys? In a firmly attached trick, the rim of the border membrane bites into the surface of the fish's epithelial cells, and the surface it encircles is forcibly vaulted as by a sucker. These activities, attachment and rotating movements, may cause serious irritation and damage to the epithelial or epidermal cells of the fish. It's just trying to live his life. Jody says, trick is so cool, looks like biblical angels. Yep, I definitely could see that. Excuse me. This disease may occur in acute form, mainly in larvae and fingerlings, causing ulcers, subepithelial edema, displacement of the secondary laminella and gill filaments, hyperplasia, and mononuclear inflammatory infiltration. On the other hand, in chronic infestations, tricks may induce an increase in the mucous cell, the epithelium, and gill filaments, discrete hyperplasia with partial or total fusion of the secondary laminella, inflammatory infiltrate, and gill necrosis. The microlesions caused by the presence of these parasites are next colonized by bacteria, which in turn are responsible for opportunistic infections and accelerate the progression of disease, thus causing outbreaks of mortality. Outbreak of mortality is crazy. Clinical signs are not specific, and diseased fish may present darkness of the skin, whitish area in the gills, hypoxia, flashing on the ponds or aquarius surface, lethargy, and erratic swimming on the body surface are frequently found in diseased fish. All right. So now we've gotten to the point. Where if I'm not buffering, if I can read, let's actually get to treating some of these, please. Okay? Let's get to treating some of these things. So I'm going to pull up this next paper, and let me put the link in the chat. Now let's see how we can actually get about to solving some of these diseases. These parasites. You know, parasite, it just sounds so offensive to say, like, freaking parasites all around me. But, I mean, what you gonna do? Oh, we got a wet mount of a trick. A picture of a laptop screen from Jody P. But we got a Jody P original picture of the parasite we were just talking about. 1 second. Hold up. Breaking news, man. Breaking news. You heard it here first. Where's this thing save on my computer? Desktop? Okay. I got it. So here you go. It's got a nice little circular shape going on here. Yep. Yep. I know a trick when I see one. Look at that. Even through the computer screen photo. ICX treats trick. Okay. Yeah, ICX is a fantastic. I have more respect for ICX and the amount of problems that it could solve for me. I feel like for some reason I knew it solved a lot of things, but now I understand. Now that I understand what it does and the things that it treats, I feel like I'll be quicker to use it. You know what I mean? Because I understand better. So let's get into this understanding. We'll see if we can get on the same page here. Or maybe I'll end up that I can't even read. So, Protozoan Parasites. This is something from October 2003 by Robert M. Durborough. I thought it was a good mix of pictures and a good mix of just information on how to treat things that was not too difficult to understand. And he just gets it just gets kind of straight into it. This is from the Southern Regional Aquaculture Center. All right. And it starts off, which is why I transitioned this one very smoothly. It starts off with trick. That's the first one. Okay. When viewed from the top, I just went backwards. Olé. I was about to get on a roll and I just refreshed the page. When viewed from the top, trick is circular. Side views of the organism reveal a saucer or dome shape. Small hair-like projections encircling its body and oval oral cavity, which are used for locomotion and feeding. These ones do sound the most terrifying because they just kind of describe them as giant mouths, just like grabbing onto things and ripping up the epithelial cells. You know what I mean? Its body is supported by a rigid ring of interconnected discs called a chinoid or denticular ring. Each disc has a thorn-like inner ray projecting into the center of the ring. Trick glides rapidly over the gill and skin surfaces. It is usually found on the gills, but can also be found on the rest of the body. Especially when the fish have become weakened, trick can infect almost all fish species directly or indirectly, and indirectly or directly cause a fish's death. Their infections cause no distinctive lesions, so diagnosis is made exclusively by microscopic examination. Gill swelling often can be seen. Infected fish often display lethargic behavior, weight loss, and flashing. Attempts to get rid of the parasite. The protozoan parasite can be present in low numbers and not cause disease. The experience of the diagnostician in weighing the overall parasite load in combination with other pathogenic environmental factors is important in determining whether or not a particular protozoan is causing a disease or condition. Little Brown Frosh says SRAC has solid info. Yeah, I think we're gonna find this is a lot easier to read than the other things so far. That's what I was saying. I kind of saved my favorite papers for later in the stream after all the bullshit happens. Now I feel like things have stabilized. We can get through this. Trick infestation are typically caused by high stocking densities and generous feeding rates. So, yeah, this is probably me. Well, the generous feeding rate. I wouldn't say I got high stocking densities. Both done to maximize production and profits. Such aggressive management can be profitable up to a point. But when the culture system limits are exceeded, adverse conditions, such as poor water quality, can lead to lower production levels, higher mortalities from disease, and off-flavor problems. So, the treatment, and this is why I like this one so much, because it just gets straight to it. So, the treatment for the trick infestations at the time of this publication, and from what I've read, it hasn't changed a ton. They use Formalin F, Parasite F, and Parasite S. Okay, and we got like trademark logos next to it. Now, Formalin F, I'm not sure if this is a particular product or that's just them saying formaldehyde. But yeah, Formalin, Parasite F, Parasite S, and copper sulfate, which is on deferred status from FDA, and potassium permanganate, which is also on deferred status. That might have changed by now. It's been a minute. People have definitely I've seen talk about potassium. Also on deferred status, and acetic acid. They're usually killed with a single treatment, and the fish can recover after treatment. A qualified health professional should be consulted. Help in circulating treatment rates can be found in the SRAC publication 103, Calculating Area and Volume of Ponds and Tanks And 410, calculating treatments for ponds and tanks. Okay, I'm going to put this in the chat because we should look at these at some point. All right. There are several species of the trick. All right. Well, let's get on to the next one. Holy. I kind of feel itchy right now. This is a Trichophyra that has feeding tubes or tentacles that protrude from a spherical cell and resembles pins in a pin cushion. Fantastic. Now we should start being able to recognize at least some of the families of these from the first pictures. A couple fish that I said I got a pound of potassium permanganate for like $4 and used about 0.25 grams in the 10 years I've had it. Nice. Well, when you used it, was it effective? Let's see what it says about Ichthyobodo nector, formerly Costia nicatrix. A small protozoan about the size of a red blood cell. It's a single-cell parasite shaped like a comma or teardrop. It uses flagella for motility and attached to the host fish. All right, we got the whip-like structures. Okay, the flagella. Let's see. When attached to a flagellum, it remains fixed to a fish's surface, and the flagellar movement of the cell body sometimes looks like a flickering candle flame. Okay, what's up, Savage Sicklers? What's up? Okay, it looks like a flame. Also can be seen lined up motionless along the edge of the gill, giving the gills a serrated appearance. Irritation from the parasites can cause gill swelling, which we are seeing in figure 7. Hold up. So here it is, lined up along the edge of the gills, giving it that serrated appearance. These tiny little hairs there. A couple fish says a rowdy oxidizers are worse on tons of shit. You can use it for humofungal stuff like foot fungus. Yeah, that's one of the things that made me... It did seem like something I needed to think about more before I used it. So I need to read about it a bit. All right. This one occurs on the skin and gills. The organism is notorious for affecting fish in crowded environments such as cages and cause significant mortalities. It can also cause infections at temperatures of 36 degrees Fahrenheit to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So the treatments include formalin, Cuso-4, and Kimno-4. A single dose at the appropriate concentration usually is effective. All right. Let's look at what they say about Epistylus. Are we ready to see? Oof. How are you supposed to see that in fish? Yeah, microscope, basically. A couple of fish are legit so intense that you can use it to make rockets. Like, okay, you're scaring me, man. Come on. Okay, the protozoan Epistylus and Heteropolaria are very similar, these two protozoan parasites. Some of us don't have that, Jody. I know. You're just basically screwed if you want to see them, at least. Epistylus is a single-celled but lives in stalked colonies. Okay, so single cell. Look, we got stalked colonies here. Oh, it's like a planted tank up in this bitch. They have a nodular ropey appearance. This extreme reaction of the kidney and the inability of the parasite to produce mature spores in the affected fish indicate that trout or salmon may be unnatural or aberrant host for Tetracapsula rhyosalminae. Okay, good for them. Microscopically stained tissue smears show the primary cell of the parasite with secondary or daughter cells inside or near the primary cell. Oh, the Epistylus thing is up here. I was reading the wrong one. Sorry. So yeah, single-celled but live in stalks. The branching stalks are rigid and do not contract. The cell at the end of the stalk are called zooids. They contain cilia around the oral opening and contract when feeding. Ooh. Epistylus or Heteropolaria colonies on fish resemble white tufts of fungus that can be differentiated from fungus by microscopic examination. These parasites are usually found on the skin and fins. The base of the stalk attaches to hard calcified surface such as scales, fin rays, or spines. And Chisicla said just had some of these parasites. My apologies. Coverfish said microscope was an essential purchase for me. I got to be able to see if I know it's there. I'm hoping to buy a microscope this year. I really need to. Mick said, "Hey Nick and everyone, just home. What's up? What's up? How's it going? Home from the nerdy LFS with a beautiful piece of wood. Pause." Jody said, "I'd send a microscope to everyone if I could." Yeah, but we're on the waiting list right now. So Epistylus and Heteropolaria reproduce by budding and form a teletroch or motile juvenile stage. The teletroch produces a stalk and uses it to attach to an existing colony. Epistylus is often an ectocommensal in that it simply attaches to the fish and feeds on environmental debris such as bacteria. Poor water quality encourages the growth of Epistylus on fish. So honestly, bro, the more and more, it kind of sucks. It really does kind of suck, but like, the more and more I read these, the more I'm like, I gotta improve my filtration on every single tank. Like, some of them are fine, but like the flow and filtration, I need some more fine sponges. Like that's kind of like one of my main takeaways from this. Because it's not water quality. I guess there's a lot of things to water quality, but the more shit floating around in the water, the more these bacteria and things that are filter feeders that don't really move around can thrive. So I'm like, let me reduce that as much as possible. So it's kind of inconvenient because it's going to take a lot of work, but that's like one of my main takeaways, honestly. Lost one fish, never had this problem before. Damn. There's a SEM for sale near me. No idea how to run one, but damn, that would be tight. Yeah, there's microscopes on Marketplace available near me quite often. I just haven't been able to pull the trigger on that. Okay, these parasites can weaken and kill fish. Ulcers caused by Epistylus infections may make fish more vulnerable to bacterial infections. For example, red sore disease involves the combination of Aeromonas bacteria and Epistylus. So it's something that actually takes two things. The classic treatment for Epistylus and Heteropolaria infections is uniodized salt, sodium chloride. So they like salt for Epistylus over here. All right. Hinigaya sp, a sporozoan parasite that typically has very little effect on fish health. However, the disease of farm-raised channel catfish called proliferative gill disease, which has caused significant mortalities over the past 2 decades in the fall, and it's in the fall. All right. Okay, so this is what I was reading before. Okay, so that was not good. Whirling disease. There we go. That's a name that scares me and makes me panic. Whirling disease. Whirling disease caused by Myosporion, Myobolus cerebralis, occurs worldwide in all trout and salmon species. Rainbow trout are particularly vulnerable and is severe in trout less than 6 months old. The disease attacks cartilage, younger fish having more cartilage. Oh, okay, interesting. Myobolus cerebralis infections in the spine cause fish's tails to turn black and the spine to curve. Infections in the head cartilage create head and jaw deformities, while infections in the auditory capsule cause young trout to become disoriented and chase their tails. Huh. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Over here we have a fish, figure 10, showing colonies of Epistylus on a fish. It's these white tufts, it looks like. That's what they're trying to show on the dorsal fin there. Okay. More and more diseases, man. What am I supposed to say? What website is that? I've got the link pinned in the chat currently to this. This is SRAC. What does SRAC stand for again? It was like the Southern Regional Aquaculture Center. There we go. Sorry. Okay. I'm having a hard time reading the format that this is in, like this column format is really just it's difficult for me to follow. I'm not gonna lie. Proliferative kidney disease. All right, formerly called PKX. Tetracapsula bryosalminae is a myosporin protozoan that causes proliferative kidney disease. And several species are so this is one that I was interested in because, you know, when you look at bloat or like any kind of swelling thing, when I was looking at dropsy, and then dropsy, it's like failure of some organs like kidneys and stuff, okay? And then you kind of look and it's like, well, maybe it's not as much worms and stuff as I thought that was causing this. Like, back to the protozoans again. Okay. It typically occurs in the spring when mortalities are highest when water temperatures are in the mid-50s. Clinical signs include swelling of the kidney, spleen, pale gills, darkened body, and swollen abdomen containing fluid, and pop eye. The enlargement of the kidney is often noticeable externally before the internal examination is performed. The swollen kidney can have a nodular or ropey appearance. This extreme reaction of the kidney and the inability of the parasite to produce mature spores in the infected fish. Okay, that's what I was reading before. So they say to prevent it, they should not be stocked until summer when the main threat has passed. Once the disease has occurred, mortalities have been decreased by increasing salinities to 8 to 12 parts per thousand, around 1/3 the strength of seawater and trout rearing facilities. Okay, I'm gonna put a note about this one because I think this is some more about the treatment of this is needed, because I feel like pop eye and swelling and stuff is a pretty common issue. Bob says this is what I've been waiting for. Parasites, thumb down. This is the swollen kidney in a fish with PKD. Well, the fish looks like it's got a lot of issues. One being it's cut in half. I hope you didn't put a virus in the link that I had to download. Oh, there should be a way to just like go to the, like I have, it is a PDF, but I have it just looking at it on the site. I didn't download it, but yeah, good luck. Okay, chemicals used to treat protozoa. Here we go. Here we go. Oh my God, look, this is the one with the, is that the whirling disease? Yeah. Look at the whirling disease. Infections in the spine can cause spinal curvature. Oh my God, look at that. And this is where it causes their fins to turn black. So this is the whirling disease, a myobolus cerebralis infection. Yeah, and a whirling motion. Heavy infections can kill fish before clinical signs have a chance to develop. The spores are oval and have two distinct polar capsules that can be seen with a microscope. This protozoan has a complex life. Spores can be shed from infected live fish as well as from dead and decomposing fish. The spores can be spread via bird feces. Spores are also ingested by annelid worm intermediate host, tubifex, which lives in the bottom of ponds and streams. It's another thing that kind of like makes it, sometimes you kind of feel like, yeah, I mean, they always say that your fish most likely are going to have something, there's nothing you can do about it, but like, bruh. JP Jeffries says, how's the affiliate revenue from Louise going? Gonna get the Lambo? Oh, you mean the code BUM15? No, I currently get no affiliate revenue from anywhere. I only get revenue from you idiots donating money to me. So shout out to Jody P for the 20 and Johnny for the 5 and Jose and Audra for the 20 last stream. Like, yo, let's forget about the Lambo. I'll tell you what I want. Let me finish the whirling disease thing, but like if you guys want, we can take a quick trip to my LFS I went the other day. Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to take a quick LFS trip detour for a second. I'll show you what I saw that I wish I could buy. Whirling disease, right? So it can be, tubifex can be an intermediate host for this. The spores develop into acetosporins that penetrate fish pods, or the fish ingest the acetosporins when they eat the tubifex worms. Plasmodia developed in the fish's cartilage and even eventually produced the characteristic spores. Whirling disease can be prevented by not stocking trout fry in infested waters until they're older than 6 months. So this is something that mostly affects younger fish. Raising fish only in concrete tanks or raceways can eliminate the disease. If earthen raceways are used, they can be disinfected. So another reason why I was looking at some of this is some of them I saw were worse in cooler times, and I have a lot of cooler tanks, you know, so it's you know, I've been having a hard time keeping it warm down here, and that could be something that I have to be more mindful of. You know, different temperatures, you're dealing with different issues. If it was warmer, I might be worried about more bacterial things and stuff like that. Little Brown Frog says the intermediate host to make me want to raise my own foods. Oh, yo, whoa, hold up. Stop the phone, man. Yo, shout out my guy, SBC 570 with the $4.99 to put this towards the Lambo. Let's go. I'll pull out the driveway like Fast and the Furious, man. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Yo, hold on a second. You guys wants to... Yo, I don't even care if this gets taken down because of copyright. This is about to be me, bro. After this donation... Hold up. 1 second. I gotta make sure that you guys can hear this. Let me make sure. Yo, SVC, man. Yo, you just got me way all the way right. Yeah. Okay. I want to be like Locomotive Kurt. Okay. This is me after the donations hit. Come on, man. It's a hard life. It's a hard life. Yo, watch. This is me. I'm getting off stream. I'm going to see my girl right now. I just got the Lambo money. Okay? I just got the Lambo money. I'm going to see my girl. What happens? She don't even know I got the Lambo outside. Then what? Then what I do? I go straight to the Lambo, man. I go straight to the Lambo, bro.
So I peel out your driveway like Fast and the Furious.
Shout out SBC, man. We pulling out that driveway like Fast and the Furious. It's going down, bro. Is that your brother? No. It's just a random internet video that for some reason from 14 years ago that just popped into my mind. Don't ask me. Don't ask me how my brain works. All right. Okay, I appreciate you guys. Seriously though, like that's how I prefer it, because if I do the affiliate links, then I'm profiting off of people spending money. You know what I mean? It's not as satisfying as knowing like, oh, I'm making money because people are just directly donating it to me. I don't have like a great membership content. No, it's literally just the free stuff and people appreciate it enough. I've tricked them. Okay, so that is more satisfying to me. You guys are responsible for this, for the continuation of me streaming. Okay, every time I go on and rant, every time I'm here for 4 hours, just know it's your fault. Okay, Mick says purple Lamborghini. All right. So chemicals used to treat protozoa. Let's get into this. Uniodized salt. It kind of looks like him too, bro. Come on. Uniodized salt. Okay, salt is used to treat Epistylus and other external protozoa at 1,000 to 2,000 parts per million as an indefinite treatment or in hauling tanks. This is equal to 1 to 2 parts per thousand or 0.1 to 0.2%. 3.8 to 7.6 G per gallon, grams per gallon, or 20.8 to 56.6 per cubic foot. For short-term treatments, usually lasting less than an hour or until fish show signs of stress, 10 to 30 part PPT treatments have been used. PPT. Easy Smeezy said, just caught up. Hello from the past. What's up, man? Yo, you free tonight? Come on, you want to run the Killifish stream part 2 with me? Come on, bro. Come on. I like the midday stream, but I've been off my game to stream. I might come back just for the redemption arc. You know I get like that. I'm like, I gotta redeem myself. Okay, potassium permanganate, KMNO4, is used to treat most protozoa at approximately 2 parts per million indefinitely or at higher concentrations if the organic content of the culture water is higher. A 15-minute KMNO4 demand test should be performed on the culture water to determine the amount needed. 4 beakers of culture water are set up at 1, 2, 3, and 4 parts per million and observed for 15 minutes. The number halfway between the KMNO4 concentration that turns clear and the one that remains pink is multiplied by a factor of 2.5 to calculate the concentration in parts per million needed. All right, buddy. This is way too much work. Like, seriously. I'm not doing all this. For example, the beaker containing 1 parts per million turns clear for 15 minutes, while the 2 part per million beaker remains pink. Then the number in between the two is multiplied by a factor of 2.5 to get 3.75 parts per million needed for the treatment. If the culture water is high in organic content, concentrations higher than 4 parts per million may be needed to be used in the demand test. Please contact a qualified specialist for further details on this demand test or to have the test run for you. For shorter term tank treatment, as much as 10 parts per million can be applied for up to 20 minutes. However, the fish must be observed throughout the treatment. Wow. Corey's like, I'm going to finish this topic. You can't distract me. SVC dropping Lampo money. What? You know, no one wants to see the LFS trip. I don't think I saw anyone say it did. So I can stay focused. Okay, Aaron's out. I'll have to find something to talk about. I probably don't have anything. Sorry, guys. Blame Aaron. Copper sulfate, CuSO4, treats most protozoan parasites on non-salmonoid fish at a rate calculated by dividing the culture's water total alkalinity by 100 and using that concentration in parts per million. For example, culture water with a total alkalinity of 80 parts per million would need 0.8 parts per million of the copper sulfate. Great caution, however, must be used when treating trout with copper sulfate. Protozoa in trout can be treated with approximately 0.050 parts per million copper sulfate, which equals 50 parts per billion. When total alkalinity in the culture water is about 10 parts per million, which is typical of trout culture water in western North Carolina, that's when they're using the thing I just described. Consult a qualified fishery biologist before using copper sulfate on a salmon. All right, let's look at formalin, parasite F, and parasite S, 30% formaldehyde gas. Formalin is applied at 15 to 25 parts per million as an indefinite treatment on non-salmonoid fish. A short-term formalin treatment of 125 to 250 parts per million can be used for approximately an hour. The treatment should not last more than 160 ppm at temperatures of 70 degrees Fahrenheit and higher. The treatment should be diluted quickly if fish show signs of stress. Excuse me. Trouts are treated with 167 ppm formalin for an hour at temperatures between 50 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and up to 250 parts per million at temperatures below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Before treating for protozoa, trout growers are advised to pre-treat with salt to help slaw off excess mucus. So this is like one of the little tidbits in here that I just find interesting that are just randomly in here. But yeah, pre-treat with salt to help slaw off excess mucus. The mucus acts as a protective barrier for the parasites. So reducing the amount of mucus helps to increase the amount of contact between the therapeutic and parasite. Now this is relevant because formalin is one of the ingredients in Icax and Riddick. It's formaldehyde and malachite green for Icax. I think they're pretty similar concentrations. Some people say that the Riddick works better for them, but I don't think it's that much more concentrated. But yeah, it's interesting because now I'm kind of thinking, okay, maybe I add a little bit of salt with when I'm using those things, but it would be for a purpose that I understand. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to just, I'm going to throw salt in there with it. It's like, well, the salt will help slow off excess mucus that acts as a protective barrier for some protozoan parasites. I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of understanding what's going on here. So it helps increase the amount of contact between the therapeutic and parasite. Approximately 1 pound of salt is dissolved in the trout raceway for every 2 gallons. Isn't formalin fire hazardous? I think it's hazardous in a lot of ways. Like, again, isn't that what they use to preserve stuff? Like, it's kind of strange, but hey. I think formaldehyde is like, is it the gas form of formalin? Formaldehyde? Oh my god, bro. Yeah. Formaldehyde is a colorless, pungent, flammable gas. So that's what they got in the ICX, man. But at a low percentage, you know what I mean? It's not gonna. Your ICX probably not gonna catch on fire. Yo, Mika always so worried about safety. Wait, isn't that dangerous? Yes, Mick. Yes, it's dangerous, Mick. It's fine. I just realized I had to respond to something. My bad. All right. Let's look at something else here. What do I want to even? What do I even want to read here? It's kind of like you go through. Here we go. I'm trying to focus on ones that talk about treatment too. So let's get a little bit more current. Okay, this is. It was submitted 2023 December and it was published January 2024. So okay, we've gone a long way from the 1900s to here. Okay. Formalin has a lot of hazards. That's why it's only distributed in small diluted amounts for home aquarium, Corey says. Chiz says, fire extinguisher on hand. Of course, says aquaculture, though, can get at a higher concentration, but I think it's controlled. Yeah, probably. So we have something from the Journal of Veterinary Medicine and Research. Come on, bro. I just keep getting more official. SciMed Central. I'll put the link to this in the chat. I'm trying to get better. I'm putting the link to what I'm reading in the chat if the link is like not too long, and then I'm pinning it. So when people join, they just see the pin to the link of what I'm reading. So, come on, man. We're getting organized up in here. Let's go. So we've gone through some of the introductory stuff about some of the parasites, so we won't have to go through all of that. But everything kind of describes stuff in a different way, so sometimes you do pick up different little tidbits, even if you repeat the same, like, general information. Okay. So this is a picture of a trick on the skin of a fish. We got some different pinkish photos going on here. I don't know what they're using, but it's probably that red. They mentioned a red thing earlier, didn't they? Let's see, treatment. I think this one had a summary of each thing and then a treatment portion at the end. Yes, okay. So let's look at what they're saying about, start with the tricks. Yeah, the tricks. Small tricks, predominantly from gills. Or bell-shaped, okay. Well, Brown Frog says, wait, doesn't everyone have a fire cabinet in their house? I think we do have a fire extinguisher somewhere. I don't know about a cabinet, but that'd probably be good. So control and prevention. Now, we're getting updated. The last one was from a while ago, so let's see if it's changed at all and what they recommend for treating each one that we just went through. So for the trick, it says treatment with formalin is still the only effective means to control massive ectoparasite infection. So ecto is the parasites that are external. In all warm water cultured fish species, in Israeli fish farms, ponds are sprayed with formalin up to concentrations of 25 or 40 parts per million of the 37% commercial product. So that's the same one that was described in the previous paper. This is like 2 decades later. Mick said a friend was a chief of collections in our natural history museum. He said they had to change the fluid in old conservation jars when the government put new protective rules into play over here. And then Corey said same, only certain stuff before a certain date was allowed to stay in the old liquid. Yeah, this sounds, I'm not trying to do that. That sounds disgusting. Ole. Now when I start preserving each of the coolest, rarest fish I have like a shelf of them with like lights on it, and it's like they all look beautiful, but they're dead and preserved. Like I don't want anyone to pull up a VOD of me saying it's gross or creepy, because honestly, I could see myself doing that. But like for scientific purposes, because you could bring them to fish talks. Like you could bring them to fish talks and have them there, the specimens of all these different fish you're talking about. It kind of would be a good learning tool. I'm just saying. I don't like it, but if the fish is dead and gonna die anyway, I'm not gonna kill it to do it. But I mean, man. Okay. So yeah, formalin. Efficacy of formalin treatments is affected by ambient temperature, water quality, including salinities and parasites treated. Product quality is variable and is particularly affected by storage, resulting in accumulation of polymerized sediment. So, important diagnostic features of ectoprotozoan parasites of fish and other aquatic animals. So, these are the external friends. So, for Cryptobia, it says free spindle-shaped. Let's see, when attached, 2 flagella, 1 wholly or partly adjunct to the body. Kinotoplast is rod-shaped or round. We have Ichthyobodo, free. It's got the size or attached to integument with 4 flagella. We have coelates. So Childonella is rounded to oval, cystome distinct, macronucleus round, and cilia on the concave ventral surface are arranged in several concave parallel rows. We have C. Hicks Astica. We got the size here with 6 to 8 ciliary lines on each side. And we have the tricks. Come on, I don't need to tell you how to look at them. Corey says, you put it in a different, highly flammable liquid. Pretty sure not TSA approved. Okay, well. The tricks do look crazy, man. That looks nuts. That looks absolutely nuts. I'm trying to look. Man, they're only talking about formalin in here. Let me see what their references are, and if we can find it. We'll do some live searching for another paper about treating them. Let's see. I think I saw the prevention and treatment of disease. Oh my gosh, I just clicked on it and it thinks it's a link. The prevention and treatment of diseases of warm water fishes under subtropical conditions. This is probably very relevant to me since I'm struggling with cold temperatures. But this is a book, so I may not be able to find it for this. Nick is going to end up like Mel, having told a creepy No. I'm going to get Fathom to 3D print like the perfect displays for my preserved dead friends. I mean fish. Well, my fish that are I just was trying to clarify I was talking about fish, not my actual like human dead friends. You know what I mean? It's a itogomint. Love that word. That's how you're supposed to say it. All right, guys. Because you brought up the Lambo money, so like, just listen up. This is what I would spend if I was getting Lambo money. This is what I would spend it on. Right now, I wish I had $300 for this pair of fish that my LFS has. I'm gonna show you guys. we're gonna do a quick little parasite break. I went to London Town Tropicals the other day. Not to buy any fish. I just was out and about, and I felt like it would cheer me up. So I was like, let me hit up London Town Tropicals. So that's what I did. So let's look at what I saw there. Nick said, Wild Protagoras aberrans is available to order. What shall I do? They're very pretty. They don't have I don't think their fins are as fancy as some of the other ones, but their body, the color in their body is very, very nice. I've seen them in person once. I think if you have the space and you have the money, come on, get on the Procatopus train. Whew. So, excuse me, went to London Town Tropicals, and overall, there was a lot of cool stuff there. I didn't take pictures of everything, so I'm trying to remember. But the thing that stood out to me was they had a lot of fish that were expensive. You know what I mean? As in, like, usually when it's something that's like a $30, $20 fish, I feel like I see less of them. But they had a couple tanks of, like, you know, $15 to $30 fish where there was a bunch of them in there. So that was pretty interesting. I take pictures of things I'm not even interested in. So I took a picture of these goldfish because I thought that they looked perhaps like decent goldfish, but I have no idea. So I was like, oh, I'll take a picture of that. Yeah, Thai red and white fantail oranda. They had those in. They had a Fahaka puffer in, kind of a bigger one in. That was $119. Look at this big guy. He looked like he could eat some snails. Again, not something I'm necessarily into, but I saw this guy. I was like, oh, I know people like these things. So it's a Burundi frontosa, and it's $130. So, listen, you frontosa people, like, you got to get in the chat and explain this to me. But there it is. Okay. Then over here, I took a picture of this fish because I just had no idea what it was. So the name of it is Butter Kotiri. Butter Koteri. I actually had no idea what it is. It looks kind of big. It says max size is 18. It was $150. So if you know what that is, please tell me. We had these red and white parrots. I thought that was interesting. They were also kind of bigger. Yeah, $130. I was in like the big expensive part of the store. This was the coolest big thing that I saw. It was one of those fire eels. Look at this guy. This guy looks, I don't know if I've really noticed him, but this seemed pretty big compared to what I usually see him in the store. Massive. It seemed to be in great condition to me. We haven't gotten to the one that I would buy if I had $300 right now. We'll get to there. One thing that's interesting about the store, I've mentioned, they seem to bring in a lot of earth eaters. They must have like an earth eater fan base because they bring in a lot of different earth eaters, and they also bring in a lot of this fish, which Mick probably knows what it is. I'm blanking on the name for some reason. Why am I blanking on the name? Oh my gosh, I probably took a picture of the Ginacara. There was like there's like 5 to 6 species of Ginacara in there. This is Ginacara Orowefi. There's $20, max size, 5 inches, semi-aggressive. I don't know, something about these guys interested me more than some of the other Ginacara I've seen there. I don't know why. Maybe it's the little bit of blue that's on their eye. Maybe I just like the stripe and the splotch. I don't know. Just kind of, I was intrigued. Mick says the Bitter African tilapia cichlid, a big one. Okay. Yeah, it looked big to me. So here's some more of the Ginacara. Oh yeah, they had a little bit of yellow to them too. So they had a bit more color. I didn't get a good picture of this fish. Little Brown Frog said, love the spiny eels. Yep. I didn't get a picture of this fish, but I just take a picture every time I don't know what something is. So this is a pinstripe damba that they had in there. The Latin name is Paratroplus minorambo. And yeah, I don't know. It didn't look that interesting to me, but I just was like, I ain't seen that before. It says it gets 8 to 10 inches. They had some small Fogo peacock bass that were $85. They get 20 to 24 inches. I guess I'm glad they're kind of expensive out of a smaller size because they get bigger. I know some people. John thinks peacock bass are really cool. They seem to have them in like relatively often. I don't know who's buying these massive fish. Someone's buying it. Mick says Guinea like geo swimming groups, yellow with black markings from Guyana. Okay. Guyana. Okay. Makes sense. So yeah, some peacock gas. So the angelfish snobs, I know every time someone's selling a red devil angelfish, there was a period where some wholesaler was selling them as red devil angelfish and they were just like koi. I don't know where these fall on the spectrum. I think these were supposed to be red devils. Had a bit more red than some of the other ones I've seen recently, but I mean, maybe it's because it's in the store. I don't know. I don't really like these kind of angelfish. I like the ultims and stuff. Though I did think these pure white ones were kind of interesting. Looks like some kind of albino angel. They got red eyes. Peacock bass get huge, a perfect food fish if you're hungry. I mean, how far away are we from just starting to grow fish that we can eat instead of this aquarium thing? Like, maybe at what point does that make sense? Okay. Let's see. It ends at the yellow. Okay. I saw these swordtails, these like koi swordtail things. These would be nice in like a pond, I feel like, because they do kind of have the mini koi thing going on for them. Like the tank was really low and kind of scratched up, so it's hard to get a good picture. But even though those conditions were true, you can still like the coyness of them stands out a lot. So I was kind of like, I could see the appeal of these. But I could especially see the appeal of them in a setting where you're seeing them from above. It's kind of, I kind of like that. I think they're like $6. This is a tank, so it's got a bunch of neorites, but these are one of the scratch tetras, I believe. So you can see they had a decent amount of them in there. I think they were $16. And yeah, this is one in the stores. I don't think it's looked in a way where I'm like, yeah, I want to buy that fish. I don't really like the way that they look from their best photos anyway, but you know, it got the lines. I see it coming in. This kind of Himalayan rabbit snails, they're $14 each, and they just look massive. I was like, what the heck is going on here? Like, it's like an entire tank of giant spiral shaped rocks. But Himalayan rabbit snails, huge. A bunch of shrimp. You did show off a really pretty tilapia, pretty and good eating. Oh my god. Oh, this was the standout live bearer peeper. I don't know if this is actually uncommon, but I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Because at first I thought it was like a melanated gambusia or something, but then I looked and it's a dusky millions fish, Phyloceras catamaculatus, variety reticulatus. It says check bred, $14 each, 1.3 inches as the max size. And they look kind of interesting. They're a little like Dalmatian live bearer situation going on. And seem pretty easy to sex them too. I don't recall seeing those. Mick says lots of small species on my wholesale list tonight. Barboides gracilis, Trochilax ornatus, Posilior Sharax weissemi. Okay, Mick, you got some thinking to do. They had a good amount of the red eye puffers too. Those like slightly smaller but bigger than pea puffers. They had a decent amount of them. They look pretty good. Honestly, these days the puffers coming in look a lot better than I feel like they did when I was first going to stores all the time. They had a tank full of Bloody Marys. Like there's like 30 of them in there. I definitely see the red. They were 25 each. And they looked like they've been in there for a little bit. I don't think I had the zoomed out picture. You can see that there was a bunch in there. Last time the order was in 28 minutes. Gotta act fast here. Oh my gosh. Here they had celebs rainbows, and I'm realizing I didn't understand what celebs rainbows looked like, but these things were fucking massive, bro. For some reason, I thought they were a Sunamago. First of all, they're not. This is Mara Synthyrna Latagisi. Yeah, first of all, they're not, and like they're so much bigger than I thought. These things are some units, man. They look cool, but jeez, I just didn't realize. I really didn't realize. Funny story, Himalayan rabbit snails, not from the Himalayas. Anyone know the story behind it? Okay. I do feel kind of tricked. You can see these celebs rainbow fish. They were looking pretty good. I just didn't realize they got that big. I did not realize. Here's another thing. So, I don't know where they got... I forgot to ask, but they had some mini, like, egg catching trays that look very similar to, like, the Lowell lab design. I doubt that they know who that is or that they ordered, you know, really paid that much attention. They probably someone's like, we're selling 3D things. You want these egg catchers? And they're like, yeah. I forgot to ask how many they were, but it was interesting to see in an LFS for sure. I think this is an example of something that would be kind of a niche thing that would be worth it for a store to carry 3D printing wise. So that definitely was interesting. I took a picture of the betta wall. We got male bettas here for $20. And I took a little video because I liked this betta. I thought this betta had some cool colors going on to him, but his fins were way too long. There's copycat versions of those all over the bamboo site. Could have come from anywhere. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, I took a picture of the shrimp tanks. So here we have Bloody Marys, $8 each. Holy. I think shrimp are still a great... If you could get a good quality line shrimp where a store would buy them wholesale from you, I think you could still make some decent money off of them. Because shrimp are pretty expensive still in stores. Yeah, here's some Bloody Mary shrimp. Look pretty red. Looking pretty good. Here's the gold powder cape shrimp. Looking pretty gold, I guess. Here's the fantasy blue velvet shrimp. Looking blue. I don't know, man. The shrimp is... the names make me laugh. These are the calico sun-kissed shrimp. These are, you know, it's cool. It's like an orangey yellow thing. Sure. Sure, why not? We had some... They're just random potted plants. I thought that might be Cryptnuri in the back. I don't know. It had like the leaves look different than like thinner than the ones I had, but it just looked like a cool crypt back there. I don't know what it was. They still had some con colors. I don't know if it's the same ones as when I last went, but they had a couple, and they were there looking pretty big. I know some people that got fry from them now, so I think there's going to be a lot more of them soon. Nice mustard glass betta. That's what it's called. Mustard gas? Okay, that kind of sounds problematic. Mustard gas? Like, ain't that a crime against humanity or something? Okay. So, but the fish that I wished I could have bought, that I was interested in. Ooh, I'm trying to find my photos of them. Yeah. So, it's the fish I would have bought, but then there was like a caveat. Okay. So, they got in these fish. And they have a pair of betta macrostoma in. So there's good news and bad news. All right. Good news is they got a pair of betta macrostoma and they're huge. Okay. They're really big. Like, I have to imagine, obviously, breeding size. And the female was checking me out heavy. The male came out, but I missed the photo. The only thing is they do got a little bit of something on their eyes, okay? I don't know exactly what it is. You can kind of see they got a little bit of a cloudy eye situation going on there. And I don't know, maybe it's something that could be fixed with some softer water. I don't really know, okay? I don't. But the thing is a fish that I think is really cool. I really like, and Big Steve has, I think, more than one pair of them. And I would love to try and race him to breed them. You know what I mean? Like, these look already big enough to kind of get to it. The problem is they're $300. I just can't do that. So I think it's not a bad price for a fully adult pair of the size that they were. It's just the eye thing that's like a hang up. Now, if I had $300 in my hand right now, I'd still do it. Just because it is actually a pretty uncommon fish, and I mean, they seem to be in decent health. I feel like the eye thing, I could overcome that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I didn't get much better photos of them, sadly. But all I can tell you is they were big. They were big. That's all I can tell you. They also had I didn't get a picture of that either, but the API betta, the Jade variety, that was pretty cool. So there's a couple different wild bettas in there that they're playing around with. See, Mick said, young macrostoma on my list, $150 per fish, juveniles. So see, Mick, what do you think, man? Should I find a way? Like, it's going to be hard. Like, it's the eye thing is the holdup, but I don't even think $300 is bad for the fish at this size. People messaging me. Okay. Yeah, it's just the eye thing that's kind of holding me back. I bet some TLC in actual black water would help. Yeah, and it's like I already got softer water. I could do some Rubio's tea kind of situation. The thing is with them, I'd love to dedicate a 20 long to them. I know someone said something about them have been bred in a 10. I mean, I could, you know, get a 10, give a 10 to them. But that's one thing. But the space issue can be solved with determination. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't have the 300 right now anyway, though. But if they're still there in a week and like something changes, then I feel like Mick will be mad if I don't do it. Mick said, if you're lucky, the eyes will get better with some salt in the arrival water and tannins, perhaps. Yeah, like a very low level treatment of salt and some tea. You know what I mean? I feel like that probably would do the trick. You kind of like get my drift, Mick. You kind of get my. I feel like you said 150 for juveniles. You know, and I kind of associate you with having a bit more access to fish than I have. So I don't know. It kind of seems like a good opportunity, man. But someone might already go there and buy it before I even get a chance. So I might not have to worry about it. All right, let me see. Let me see if we got one more protozoan type thing going on here. Let's see. But honestly, I might have to spin back. I don't know. Get off stream, sell my kidney, go get the macrostoma. We'll come back and stare at them. Ross said, what store? Oh, don't worry about it, Ross. Don't worry about it, Ross. I don't know what store. It was just a Google image. They're not hard to breed, MIO. I know, bro. I gotta figure it out. There's Ross gonna go buy them. Give him some space and hiding place. It's at London Town Tropical. Well, look, give me until if I manage to make it to club meetings and go and if I do decently in any auctions, I might be able to scrape enough money together to get the fish. So like, give me till after Sunday. Okay, give me a chance. Give me a chance, Ross. Give me a chance. Maven, well, you talking about some dinosaurs? Yeah, I mean, I've had such good luck with the mouth brooding bettas so far, as far as them just seeming to be happy and breeding and not dying on me really at all. I don't think any of them have gotten sick or anything like that for me. So yeah, it seems like it would make sense for me to get another mouth brooding betta. They're kind of known for issues that are the same issues here about other blackwater fish that aren't in blackwater when they're in the stores. Check Lepidolamporogus attinatus juveniles are $12 each. That's not a betta, Mick. What do you got going on over here? Why are you asking me about something? Not hi to you too, Mick. I said hi to you when you came in earlier. Did I not? What's up, fish capades? I swear to God. I swear to God I did. I'm usually on top of that. Let's see. Let's look up this fish that... Yeah. Okay. This looks like some kind of shelled Tanganykan thing. Is this a shell dweller? Or is it just got that kind of look to them? He says hi to me just a moment. I said hi. Oh my gosh, bro. You guys. Oh. They're predatory animals like to feed on small fish. Great. Thanks for that, Mick. I only keep small fish. Come on. What are you trying to do here? Cave spawner? Okay. Yo, Ross got the minnows and we got no videos of it? Oh, yeah, Ross, you can't be asking about the bettas. You got the minnows. You're already up on me. I thought those things were cool. You gotta breed them. You gotta breed those. All right. Let me see. Shit. There's one thing I need to do that I forgot about, so that might make me have to get off stream in a second here. Is there anything else that I want to take a look at? Or do I feel like we've gotten a stream in here? It's an early stream. I feel unsatisfied though. I feel like I don't know. Something feels wrong. I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it back later, but I want to. I don't feel fully satisfied. I do want to try out some stuff, so we'll see. I'll be back tomorrow though. We might do another earlier one tomorrow. But okay. Protozoans. That is what we talked about today. And I gotta be honest, I don't feel like drinking formalin anymore than when I first started this, so I don't even know. I guess my main takeaway is I really want to improve flow, improve the fineness of my filtration. I like ICX, and I need a microscope. That's kind of what I'm taking away from this right now. Well, it seemed like a fair summary. I've got another 8 hours to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna get off now because I gotta go do something, but I do feel bad. A bunch of people donated, so I feel like I do need to put some more work in. So if I can, I'll come back later. Let me know if there's anything particular you want me to do if I do happen to come back or do another early stream tomorrow. But I came back later. I'm trying to... yeah, I don't know what I would talk about. We could do another killifish stream. I wouldn't mind doing another killifish stream. Jody said you can't leave till Ross says the minnows are all good. Fish said you have a life on the outside away from us. Mick said later would be awesome for me. Yeah, I'm sure, Vic. Whenever you're coming on stream. When you're coming on stream, Mick, you could do the killifish stream with me. But yeah, let me know if there's anything specific you want me to get into. I kind of feel like testing the power head, but not at the same time, I kind of don't feel like doing anything. So then I'd probably just talk about New World killifish. When I got back, I heard my name on the TV. Jody was asking how the minnows are doing. She wants to know if the minnows are doing all right. Which I'm also interested in. I need you to breed those. You're going to search for that purple Lambo, be honest. Nah. I ain't searching for no purple Lambo. Come on. I'm gonna be thinking, what can I list on Facebook Marketplace to get me $300 to buy these fish in the next 24 hours? What can I put up for sale? Ross says, Jody, the memos are doing great. These things are really nice. I'm gonna have to get 6 more. That's what I like to hear, Ross. Let's go. Shout out Jody Tropical Fish Cup. Got those blue line, minnows I kept talking about on the stream. I still think that's a nice fish. All right. Jody says, so happy to hear that. I always freak out till I know it's all well. Yeah. I might dedicate my 33 longs for breeding them. Ooh. Mick says, Cosmic Girl with Jamiroquai. Just saying, it's a nice song. All right. Fiscapay said, I'm saving up for my next Tropical Fish Co. order and editing a long overdue post unbox. Yeah, I need to do some editing. All right, guys. I'm headed out. I hope that I can stream again later. I have no idea what I'll talk about, so please comment some ideas. But I'm gonna head out. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me this early stream. My brain don't even know what it's doing streaming this early, you know. But shout out to all you guys. A big thanks to the donations. SVC, thank you for the Lambo. Appreciate you, my guy. Jody, thank you very much for the 20. Johnny Best, thank you so much for the 5, my friend. Look, I'm trying to spend back for you guys, make the money worth it. We'll see if I can make it, and see if I can have a little bit less technical issues. Little Brown Frog says, Velvet is also common on betta, so be ready for that. Oh, fantastic. Couple of fish. Appreciate you, Corey. Cool having you hanging around. Come on, man. We coming on stream. Mick, appreciate you. Mel, Cam, Jam. Yeah. We know we got the dinosaur. Moneyless Maven up here. Appreciate you. Ross Baltimore pulling through. Don't buy my fish. Aaron was here. What's up, man? What's up? In the morning, he's usually all up late. Now I can't do the late stream. Appreciate you stopping by. Bob Bravo in here. To Savage Cichlids. JP Jeffries, of course. Good luck at work. And that's as far up as I can scroll. He used my name. Don't get used to it. I'm going to appreciate you guys, and I'm going to see you laters in my tanks. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Yo, Ross Baltimore with the 10 said for lunch. What the hell? Yo, Ross, thank you, man. You didn't have to do that. Oh my gosh. What the heck? At the end of the stream to stop singing? Oh my god. Come on, man. You don't want to... Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. But like, I'm the one getting the donations. Yo, shout out to Big Money Ross. He's going to breed those minnows, man. He's going to bring those minnows. The universe is going to return the money back to you. I'm telling you. Okay? We're going to start... You know what we're going to start? We're going to start some prosperity fish keeping streams here. Okay? Prosperity fish keeping stream right here. The more you donate, the richer you're going to get. The more your fish... Yo, I'm not providing any value to the members, nothing, because the universe will take care of it, okay? The universe. That's hilarious. 3 Shades, where we at? Bro, talk to, you seen Aaron in the chat. I asked him about streaming later. He said he can't. Look, you know I'm down to hop on stream with you whenever, Ross. You can come on tonight and do the Killifish stream with me if you want. You know what I mean? I don't know. 2026 Fish Pod. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Come on. Come on. Your favorite fall screwer right here. Prosperity in my tanks. Okay? Yo, Prosperity Fish. Let's do it. All right. Seriously, guys, I appreciate you. I'm extra motivated to come back now. So the money isn't wasted. You know, I'll put more time into it. And we'll see. If I find a way, maybe the betas end up here. Maybe someone buys them out from under me, you know? He said I could make time for 3 shades. All right. Well, you talk about it. If you can make time and you want to do it whenever, then come on. You can make $1 million if you breed 1 million guppies. All right. I'm going to get off because if not, I'm going to be here forever and I got to run. But I'll see you guys in a bit. Appreciate you. It's in my tanks. I'm out, man. I'm freaking out. You know? No, I'm out. I'm not freaking out. I'm out. Like, I'm freaking out, man. No, but I'm not freaking out. I'm just, you know, I say like, I'm freaking tired of this. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm freaking out. Right? You get what I'm saying, right?